Well, good morning. Are you ready? I'm ready too. I sound like I'm on like one of those kids shows, right? Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to be doing a rinseless wash. Can you say rinseless wash? Oh, and some other important information is that so I got YouTube now. I've got a YouTube channel. I've had that for 3 months, and I have 1 subscriber. And I got an Instagram account a couple days ago, and I have 13 followers on that. So I'm about to blow up. I'm about to blow this thing up. So if you like what you're seeing, smash and subscribe that like button for more content and cool stuff. So just real quick before we get started, I just want to let you know, if you have never done one of these rinseless washes or you're not familiar with them and you've never seen this before, it can kind of freak you out a little bit. And the reason I say that is because when you do a traditional wash, you know, you're going to spray the car and it's got the foam, and I do those too, right? But it has the foam and everything else. And you're like, holy cow, this, you know. But when you do these, there's nothing, right? You're not going to see any sudsing. You're not going to see any foam, nothing like that. And it's going to, most people get kind of freaked out. They're like, man, I'm going to ruin my paint job. There's no way I'm doing this. This has to be bad. And I'm telling you with 100% certainty, it is not. If you do this the way I show you to do it, you're not going to have any problems. It's going to be 100% safe. And oftentimes it's actually safer than using the suds because there's no contact with that, right? So with this stuff, what happens is with the rinseless wash, the product goes on the paint and then it encapsulates the dirt. Once that dirt's encapsulated, that's it. You can take the sponge and you can remove it right off the car. And so there's 2 different ways of doing this, and there's an indoor and an outdoor. And again, I checked on YouTube and I looked everywhere, and I could not find anything that addressed this. So we're gonna do it. I'm gonna show you both ways. They're both pretty much identical. The only difference is if you have a place where you're outside and we're gonna do it like that. If you don't have a garage, you don't have any shade, that sort of thing. And so again, what they did not show on YouTube was the most important factor of all of it. And the most important thing is the water. The water is gonna dictate how you wash the car. Okay, and what I mean by that is the quality of the water. For the sake of this exercise, we're just gonna assume that you don't have a garage, you don't have any shade, it's summertime and that sort of thing. But again, you wanna try and limit, you know, the amount of heat, the sun and that sort of thing. Because what's gonna happen is, depending on what kind of water you have, you're gonna get these hard water spots. And I'm telling you right now, man, those things, they are a mess to try and get those things off. They are extra, and I have a bunch of different water spot removers, and they're okay, but I have never seen one where it completely, I mean, I've had to compound stuff off, and so if you can avoid that altogether, that's the way to go. But the number one thing I'm gonna tell you right now is if you do it outside, if you do the vehicle outside, again, like I told you, if there's no shade, what you're gonna wanna do is use distilled water, and that's gonna be the trick. Because if you don't, and you check, so I'm a little bit paranoid again, so I have one of these TDS meters, and this TDS meter tells me what the total dissolved solids are in the water, and so I just checked my water. I can't see it in here, I'll have to move it down, but my water right now is at 232, right? And so the perfect water is 0, right? So I have a water distiller running in the back, right? I don't know if you can see that, let me see. Right there. So I make distilled water in here, and so if I was to go outside and do a rinseless wash, I would use 4 gallons of that. And you can buy it anywhere. You can buy it at, you know, the grocery store. I think it's like, 90-something cents a gallon. So I make a gallon here, and based on my electricity, I can make a full gallon for about 24 cents, okay? So today I'm just gonna use tap water because it's a little bit cold outside. So even if I do get some water spotting, it's not gonna matter because it's not warm enough for that to dry, and that's the trick. If you wash the car and that water gets on there and it dries, so the minerals left over are what leave the water spots. So you could use regular tap water as long as it's cold enough outside and the water doesn't dry. If it's warm, if it's hot, and that water's gonna dry, you're gonna have to use distilled water. I'm just trying to say, you can do whatever you want, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't, it's gonna be bad. All right, so hopefully you can see this, but anyways, so we got our water here, we got our 4 gallons of water in here, and then we have our solution. And so I use McKee's N914. It's a rinseless wash, and I'll put that on there somehow. I don't have the container that I use because I empty those out, and I'll see if you can see up here. But you see those? You see right along here? Those are empty laundry detergent containers. I use those. I recycle those as my dispensers. So I don't have the original container for that, but I can give it to you. So and there's all kind of cool stuff you can do with that N914 too, and I'll probably get into that later. But anyways, so the mixture is it's an ounce per 256 ounces, right? Or so it's basically half an ounce, I think, per gallon or something like that. I use 2 ounces for 4, just to be safe. So I already put 1 in here, and then you got this measured out, and you got your 1 ounce, and you're gonna put that in there, right? And then you'll just mix it around. And the great thing about using this rinseless wash is that you don't have to use a second bucket, because the way this stuff's designed is the contaminants come off the sponge, and then they go down into the bottom of the bucket. And I have this thing, and it has a grit guard in there, and so that sediment and so forth goes down below that grate. And then they have these sponges. So these sponges have these little tines in them. Okay, if you don't want to buy these, you can use thick microfiber towels, but it almost comes out about the same. So again, I'm just trying to save you money. You can buy the thick microfiber towels. They're typically, I think it's like $20-something. I think you get 2 of these sponges, and they're just called like Big Blue Sponge or something like that. And these are like, I think they're like 15, 16 bucks, maybe under 20. I can't remember, but they're not terribly expensive. And so the trick with these is that they collect that dirt, and then that dirt goes back down into that bottom of that container. So that's what we're going to use. And you can use, so they have the actual sponge. The original one was called the Big Red Sponge. And that thing is like $30-something. And there's really no reason to go out and spend that kind of money. So like I said, these are just as good. They sell yellow ones, they sell different ones. So just so you have a basic idea. And then we have our pump sprayer here. And we're going to go ahead and fill that up. And that's going to be our pre-rinse. And again, they have these, this is a Solo sprayer. This is like, I think it's like 16. I gotta look this stuff up. I think it's like 16 bucks or something like that. And you can go out and you'll see online these guys are using IK sprayers, or using Marilex sprayers and all that kind of stuff. And they're just, I've about had it with those things. The seals go on those, as far as the Marilex. I think I paid $60 for that pump sprayer, and this little tiny gasket went out on it, and it's like $11 to get the freaking gasket and then to have it shipped. And I don't want to mess with that. And like I said, for 15, 16 bucks, this does the same thing. And it doesn't have to be a foam sprayer or anything like that. So anyways, now what you're going to do is you're going to take this, okay, you're going to put this down in here. And then we're just going to fill this up, right? And this is going to be our pre-rinse. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to bore you with that. So we're going to cut and then go to the wash. All right, so I won't waste too much more of your time here, so we're going to get right into it. But I always wash the car from the top to the bottom, right, from the roof down. And so we're at the roof right now, and I'm just going to show you how we do this. So we take your sprayer, got your sprayer, spray this stuff on there. Just get a nice light coating, all right? And then what we're going to do, I'm going to try and double fist this thing here. But anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to come down here, and you're going to get this sponge out, right? And when you rinse this thing out, you want to rinse it out to where it's about, just kind of wring it out, but not to where it's completely wrung out. See, it still has some weight to it, okay? And then you're just going to come up here. You're going to wipe this thing down. And that's pretty much it. You're just going to wipe this thing down. All right? And then you'll notice that the sponge will start to get dirty. It'll start to collect that dirt. And so you just flip it around. Flip it around. And you can go to the second sponge. You can do every one. This is a mess right here, but you get what I'm doing here. So you do that, right? You put that back. And then you take your towel. And then you'll just dry this whole area off. And I'm going to tell you right now at the end of the video, I'm going to explain this to you, but a lot of people, you see these detailers out there, they see me using one of these absorbent towels and they lose their freaking minds. But I'll explain that to you at the end there. So, but you guys got the gist of it. If you have any questions, you can hit me up, but that's pretty much it. I'm not going to do the whole car because it's the same thing over and over again. It's kind of ridiculous. All right, so I'll talk to you in a little bit. So one of the things I overlooked, and I forgot to mention this, I probably should have, I just assume people know this stuff, and that's not necessarily true. But anyhow, so when this has already been pre-treated, right? So real quick, what you're going to do is when you wash the car, right, you got your sponge and you're coming along here, right? Coming along. And what you want to do is work your way down. You want to work your way down the panel, right? And when you get to the bottom, you don't come back up with that sponge because all the dirt is going to be from this part down is where all the dirt's going to be. So you're going to flip that sponge over and then come back down again. You don't want to go down here and then come back up with that sponge under any circumstances because it's going to drag that dirt up and you're going to scratch the car. So I just want to throw that out there too. All right, so what I did was I just finished up with the exterior of the car. I still have to do the windows, but I'm going to put a coating on that anyway, so I'm not overly concerned about that. But what I did was I took that water from the gold bucket, the wash, and I put it into this black bucket, right? Put it in this black bucket, and that's my wheel bucket. So you don't ever want to use the same bucket that you wash the car with as you wash the wheel. So I have a separate bucket for that. Took the water from the clean bucket, the gold bucket, dumped it in there, and I added about a half a gallon of water. And then I took 1 ounce of the N914, and I put it in this spray bottle here, in this 32-ounce spray bottle. And so I'm using that for everything. If you look, guys, a little test. You see these wheels are pretty freaking dirty. So I'm gonna clean up these wheels with the same stuff, and then that's pretty much it, man. We'll be all set. Talk to you in a bit. Well, good morning. Good morning. How you feeling? I feel pretty good. So I went ahead and I finished up the car this morning. It had to be ceramic boost. It was a ceramic coating, so I had to do the topper this morning. Some of them don't require that, but this one does. So I had to top it off, and I checked it over. And we get outside, you're going to see that it looks just as good as if we had, again, people will come out there and they'll say they did 9 strip washes and this, and it's like, you're going to see that this looks as good as anything out there. So it's not like we cut corners or that we were trying to skimp. This thing turned out immaculate. Okay, so one of the things I mentioned was that I had used an absorber towel, and if you go out there and you tell people that you use that, and anyone who's watched YouTube videos for any length of time, they're going to come after. They're going to say you're a hack. You have no idea what you're talking about, and that kind of thing. So this is what it is. It's one of these. I don't know if you can see that. All right, but it's just one of those absorber type towels. And man, those guys out there, they'll hammer you. And again, the reason why I believe they're doing that. So you see these detailers out there, and they become popular. Right? They'll start getting, a couple thousand followers, and next thing you know, they're saying the only thing they use is Mr. Super Sucker sponge and Super Sucker towels, right? So that's the problem. Those guys, they're typically bought and paid for by that company, and so they only want you to use that towel and that product. And look, I'm not knocking those towels. I'm not bagging them out. I mean, they serve the purpose, that they work. But again, I mean, like I said, I tried those things, and I had one. I tried it, and it actually. There was something in that towel, and it kind of marred the paint. So again, I just stayed away from that. I'm just trying to save you that heartache. But the other problem with those towels is they are massive. They are giant. All right, so you get out there and you're pulling this thing, and you got, you get all the water off it, and that's awesome, right? So now you got to put that thing somewhere. You have to hang it up. You really don't want to tumble dry those things too much. So now you got this massive freaking towel, and it's soaking wet. It's absolutely soaked. So now you got to figure out a place to hang that thing up. And at any given time, I don't, depending on where you are. So I'm down here. It's like 90 degrees in this garage with 95% humidity. It takes forever for those things to dry. So like I said, I've been using this for years. You can do what you want, but if the paint's clean and it's the way it's supposed to be, you're not gonna have any problems with these. All right, and lastly, we're just gonna cover, if you're up north and you wanna, there's no access to water or anything like that, and you wanna get the underside of the car, there's 2 ways you can do that. One, you can either go through one of those one of the drive-up things, you put the coins in it and you use the gun, right? If you don't wanna do that, there's a workaround with that, and I'm going to show you right now. And then the other thing is, if you decide that you just want to go ahead and wash your car, your truck at your house, I suggest using a water softener. All right, so hopefully you can see this. But anyway, so this is what I use, and again, you can use what you want. But this is a water softener. I use this in the summertime. If I happen to get a vehicle that's pretty trash, and I have to use my pressure washer, I'll run that through here. And so it doesn't take away the water spots. It doesn't get rid of them. But what it does do is it allows them just to wipe right off. Okay, so you're not fighting against that calcium and that kind of thing. Yep, they're going to be on there, but you're going to wipe it right off, and it's not a problem. And the thing with these is, first off, you basically just use salt to recharge them, and you can run 11,000 gallons through them. Okay, the other option is to get a deionizer, and so those things run $400, and you can only run about 1,000 gallons through those, and then you have to buy what they call a recharge kit. I couldn't find those. I couldn't find them anywhere as far as what the price is. But I speculate, I believe they're closer to $100. Okay, and then the problem is you have to order that kit through that company, whatever company that is. You have to order that recharge kit, and so now you're waiting for that kit to come in. And if you need to use this stuff, you can't be waiting for that. So I just use this. Again, you can use what you want, but I prefer not to mess with that. And then the last thing is, so like I said, if you're up north or whatever, let me see if I can get in here a little bit closer. So this is what you can use, and so this is an airless paint sprayer. This is a Himalaya Air, and I put a bag on here to protect that filter, when I'm not using it, right? But at any rate, so I use an airless paint sprayer, believe it or not, and it has pretty good pressure, has enough pressure. So if you're at home and you're in your garage, and say you've got dirt up inside the wheel wells, you're like, oh man, I got to get that out of there, right? So you can use this. You can use this airless paint sprayer. It'll spray up inside the rim, or I'm sorry, the wheel well, up underneath the undercarriage and that sort of thing, and it'll clean it out perfectly. And I just checked this on Amazon right now, and they're $199. You can probably go out to Home Depot or something like that and maybe get a deal, get them a little bit cheaper. But this is what I've been using. I haven't had any problems with it. So with that being said, we're going to go out and take a look at the vehicle. As I was putting everything away, I realized it probably would help if I had shown you how to use it. But pretty straightforward. So you just take this little hose. It's got a filter on it, and you just follow the directions like as if you were going to use it on paint, right? So just take the hose, put it down your bucket of solution, and then you'll just spray that in the wheel wells. You can use it inside the doors, inside the door wells and all that stuff, back and behind the trunk, if you've got dirt in there, and that's pretty much it. So sorry about that, but all right, let's get outside and check this thing out.